Good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC Live Season 2, Episode 46. I had to check that. So today is the November post-raid review, and of course the FM refresh. We've also got the VXP weekend to talk about, and of course the very small amount of TLCs we've been given today. So yeah, there's a fair bit to talk about. But before we roll into it, welcome to the lovely, beautiful panel. We, of course, have the wonderful George. Hey, George.
Evening, everybody.
Of course, we have the wonderful Robin.
Hey there.
And then we have that mother... and then there's TSM. Hey, TSM.
How you doing, mate? I was wondering what you were going to say then.
No, I was going to say the man, the myth, the legend, but I thought I'd change it up a little bit, you know? Just keep you guessing.
That gets me in trouble, that one.
Yeah.
On my days.
Okay, well, yeah, it does draw you a lot of unwanted attention, I guess. So, a lot to talk about. How many slides we've got to go through tonight?
More than 10.
Less than yeah, okay. No worries. Okay, we'll go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so here we go then. This is TFC Season 2, Episode 46, as Liam stated there, 15th of November 2017. So first sector after the screen, 2 seconds. Oops, there we go. That's what we're going through tonight then. It's quite a bit. A lot of the TLCs, we'll look at them quickly. We won't talk about them too much because they are all reruns. Sorry, most of them are reruns anyway.
Question, actually. Is the targets the same? They've not shuffled the targets at all, no?
Until we see them all up, I'm not exactly sure. But they said they were reruns, so we'll go for that for the moment. But we do know some of the prizes are not quite as they were. But okay, next sector is for Robin then.
Well, good evening all. So today we're just going to look back and take a look at the trial by fire raid and do a quick review. I know we've got a lot of slides, so we'll just kind of run through these quickly. First off, there were no major changes to the lower targets. In fact, reports that we got from people was that they were a little easier this time around. Not sure if that's because of better fleets or if they adjusted anything. They did remove the closest glut on the 87 target, and so that kind of messed up people's plans for the quick points there. But we were able to go ahead and still take the gluts on the right-hand side of the targets, and so people were able to actually go through and still do those. And so I think it was like 120,000 points that you could do, just no charge with subs. And so people were able to take advantage of that. People were able to hit the blitz targets, I think, a little easier this time around from what we were hearing. And then the elite targets, and this was kind of interesting because they changed it this time around. They, instead of just throwing out the 2 new targets, they allowed us to, or they actually loaded two extra targets. And so instead of just having the new version of each target, they put 3 run-throughs of the last raid target. So that was kind of a good opportunity for people to, test their fleets on something that they were familiar with. They were able to go through and look at those. There was a lot of videos out there for the older targets. And so people were able to go ahead and hit those. And then they had a new target both for the Hunter and for the Fangtooth. Now, the big difference this time around from last was that last time we were able to take the fangs into the Hunter target and do that very well. This time, however, we were not able to do that. We were kind of stuck where we had to use the single fleets for the single target. So we had to take the fangs into the Fangtooth and the Hunter into the Hunter target. And the other thing that we didn't have this time around, there was no blitz reduction. I think there was a lot of people that were expecting that. It was nice that we got it last time around, but we did not see that this time around. Okay, if we move on to the next one. With the prizes, they had reduced the prizes or kept the reduced prizes on the charged armors, which was really good. It would have been nice to have more of the charged armors. I think it was a limit of 5 of the X and 5 of the M, and I think of the CT as well. With the changes that have occurred with the FM, and of course we'll talk through those here soon, but we will go ahead. It would be nice to have more of those in the next raid. So, yep, George is saying that the CT was 10, but there were 5 each of the X and 5 each of the M. It would be nice if Kix could bump that amount up so that they can go ahead and include more of those for the tech store raid for the people that need those for their raid fleets, or excuse me, their FN fleets. And then on the tokens, we had 20 days of structure tokens, which was really good. We still had the hunter tokens. There weren't any Fang tokens, but we did have hunter tokens. And then they also included Icebreaker and Mono tokens so that you could go ahead and get those if needed, so that they could go ahead and use those for the FM fleets as well. Okay. Some negatives on the prizes, and I'm kind of not understanding what the... Not really understanding what the issue was with this. The Phantom Fang was locked in the locked store, but the Apex was not. And there was some confusion on the required redemption to open the locked store. If you had everything on the left-hand side, you kind of needed to still claim something on the right-hand side, and that wasn't kind of inherently there until it was put into the release notes. And then there were people that thought they had to go ahead and claim the gluttony before they could even get up to that. So some clarification on that would be good. And there were no zealous tokens. There's kind of would have been nice for those to have been included in the raid, but we didn't see any of those.
Yeah, I don't understand why the zealous tokens weren't in there, and especially if they were only planning on releasing one of them in the FM, knowing that they were doing this. I don't know. I really did like the targets though, because, well, at least the hunter target, because I autoed the entire raid. I got to watch TV and shows, and I got to do some stuff out in the shop and do it on the phone. It was fun. That was the most one of the most recent laid back raids that I've had. The other thing is that I liked about this raid is there was not as much pressure from Kixeye with regard to prizes. The prizes weren't like, they didn't load up the prize list to where you're like, oh, I got to get at least 400 million points. You know what I mean? I think it made for a much more relaxed raid for people as well.
I quite enjoyed this one myself, I have to say. But then I was prepped, I was ready. So
yeah,
I didn't like prepping ASET.
Yeah, and you didn't need. Well, yeah, they said that whole no co-op thing is annoying as hell. But I mean, I don't think, like, in the last couple of raids, the last several raids, there's always been this pressure, like this pressure to get you points and get this and this and this, and it wasn't as bad. I mean, there was a little bit there this time, but not nearly as bad as in the past.
I thoroughly enjoyed this raid. It's probably the best raid I've had this year. Really good.
Okay.
Okay, if we could drop back to the last one.
My apologies.
No, that's okay. Couple of bugs that really frustrated everybody. First off was the exploding target. That was very frustrating if you were prepping for people, and even those that were pulling out and recharging their armors. That was very frustrating. So I'm not sure if we can get some clarification on the spawn time to avoid that. But that would be good if we know that they respawn at the top of the night, at the top of the hour. Then that would be great, and then people could avoid that. But that was very frustrating, at least on my end, and I know a lot of other people were having issues as well. And the other thing that we had was at the beginning of the raid, when they released the actual campaigns, they had issues with the Cinderstorm where they weren't working at all, and then some people, when their campaigns were loaded, it showed them that they had already been completed. So I'm sure there was a lot of tickets with that. And then the last thing that was very frustrating, I know for me and everybody else, was the lag. There was some serious issues with memory with this raid. It was almost to where you pretty much had to go ahead and hit a target and then retreat and then come back in.
Yeah, that's been. It's slowly, like, there was a huge issue with that, I think, several months ago, and they had fixed it. And then over the course of the last month and a half, like, the average RAM usage has been creeping up and creeping up. And then the last few weeks. I'd probably say about the last 3 weeks, it's gotten to the point where now it pops up over a gig, 2 gigs, easy. I mean, today's even worse than ever. The trying to do the FM was next to impossible to drive.
Yep. Okay. So the next one, Mark. I wanted to kind of touch on this a little bit because I ran into somebody in the raid that was very confused about this. And so I know a lot of people just recently got charged armors and will be getting charged armors and will be refitting to use those in the FM. The charged armor has a pool, and it has a certain amount of number related to that pool that depletes as damage is taken. And so while you're being hit by, let's say, a missile, some of it is taken off of the pool and then some of it is passed through to the hull. If your charge is getting low, you want to retreat from the target if you can and then allow that armor to recharge. And so your pool will only charge up to the health of your ship. So looking at the image there, you'll see, it's kind of hard because it's small, most of the charged armor for the missile is gone, but yet my health is still really good. So at this point, I would want to pull out of the target and go ahead and allow my armor to recharge up to my full health, and then go back in and take care of the next one. And this works really well on the hunters as well as flags, or basically any fleet that uses the charged armor, but it was particularly useful for hunters. If you didn't have 5, you were able to go into the target, take some damage, retreat, recharge, and then go back in. If we can pop to the next one, TSM. And so here's the example where we were talking about how you can only charge back to your health. And so if you look at this image that we have here, you'll see that not only is my charge low for the missile armor, my health is low as well. And so if I retreat out and come back in, I'm not going to gain anything because my pool will only go up to where my health bar is. So retreat early, recharge often, and save yourself on some repairs.
Just remember that point when we get to the FM in a minute, okay? Because that is absolutely critical for anybody using icebreakers. So just remember what Ruse just said there, and we'll talk about the same thing in a minute anyway. Have you got another slide? Sorry, not sure how many more there is.
No, I think that's it.
Okay, we're just going to take off then. So just have a general bit of chit chat for a second about. I need to change slides actually, guys, because there has been an update, and Andrew sent me a second pack. So I'll do that while you do your bits.
Okay. But as the raid for a whole, I enjoyed it. Still a little bit long on the time for doing the targets, but we talk about that almost every raid. But I thought the points payout for the elite targets, I thought that was really good. The points were higher and the bonus was lower. So I enjoyed it. Very little coin. In fact, I did mine for a 0 coin. How about you guys?
Well, I'll just say what I like to say as I used to do it. I spent my money early so I could do the raid for free. So I raided for free. I even managed to prep some A sets for some guys, which was dollars dishwater. But during the raid, I didn't spend. But before the raid, obviously, I prepped, which did cost. No such things as free lunch.
I actually just used cruise, and I was doing 3 assets for a coin, so that's what I did. Like I said, it was the most relaxing raid weekend I've had in a while. I got to catch up on a lot of movies.
Okay, we're in a place to carry on. Okay, Liam, do you want to carry on?
On the TLC reruns?
Well, you can do if you want to. You must remember doing
bunch of these.
Time ago.
Once upon a time, yeah. I think I didn't have grey hair back then.
All right, I won't put you in a position of misery. Okay, so clearly, yeah.
Sorry.
I'll pick these up then. Okay, so clearly there's some TLC reruns. The prizes, okay, we thought, and this is why I've had to change slide packs. We thought the prizes would be literally a rerun of the previous ones. They are not. Andrew's done some updates, so these are now as they are in the game. Okay. And basically it says if you haven't got icebreakers and monoliths then for your FM fleet, then there's a chance to get some bits. Okay, maybe not all the bits you thought you were going to get. So what are we actually getting? Let's have a quick look. So defensive arts, there you go, price pack 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so there's some charge, so that's quite nice.
You misled me, TSM, or have you know?
And in what respect?
You told me that there was CT in this.
CO, mate, not CT.
Yeah, you said there was CT to put on my hunters, and there isn't.
I know. I was kind of calm down the Facebook page, mate, because there was about 70 million posts of people going, "The game's not working." You know, we'll get to that in a minute. That's in my bugs fixes. Anyway, okay. So there's CO charge, okay, and X and M. Okay, X is obviously a good one. M obviously seems to have quite a lot of them at the moment. So for me on my icebreakers, I'm still finding 2X and 2M seems to work the best, but that's just me. And MX free seems to work quite well, or AA free. It's up to you which one you want to play with, to be honest. Depends if you're a stopper or a rusher. You know, that's what I think.
Did you get a chance to try both of them? Because I know we were about to in the.
Like, in the other thing, yeah, I did, and I found out that the 2X 2M works better.
Not with the charge. Yeah, the charge. I thought we had figured that part out. I was more curious about the AA3 versus the.
I didn't actually see a difference.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I didn't see any difference at all. So I think once the bonus stats are up to a certain level, I think the bypass is just because of the charge. That's my gut feeling.
Okay.
But that's my gut feeling anyway. So that's defensive arts. Okay. Price Break 3 is not the easiest, by the way. So just bear that in mind. It's no fun doing that one.
Yeah.
Call to Arms Monolith, who hasn't done that, or at least viewed it or seen it. There are tons and tons of videos on it. Yeah, so there's apparently a rework on the Monolith. I don't know if actually anybody's tried it yet in the FM, or whether that was part of the reason that the big update was delayed, or it released and then delayed again, sort of stuff. But they did say, and I saw the flash post there from GDA, saying they were looking at about a rework on the grid and the monoliths, but more to follow out when Rampage will deliver that. So I can see the raiders in the chat. So I don't know if actually anything's actually happened yet, but
can we just
can
we go back one slide real quick, because I just want to point something out, because I had a lot of people complaining that X was in Prize Pack 3. From what I've seen so far, excuse me, if you had refit for the last 115 and used a bunch of M's, I think the only change that I think that you might want to do is if you went like 3 and 1 on the icebreakers. Zealous seems to still be okay with 4 M's and 1 X, so the X might not be as like needed as people are thinking, but the M is really good to have in that first spot, because you definitely need that in these targets. I just wanted to point that out, because everyone's freaking out that the X is in Prize Pack 3 instead of 2 and all that. Sorry.
No, I agree.
And just to confirm, that's not something that's different. People thought that was moved intentionally to 3. It was actually in 3 last time when it came out as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yep.
And we've got videos already up on the page. Andrew's already had a look at that. So there are videos of those targets and that sort of stuff that you can go and refresh yourself on. So it is there. Cool. Call to Arms on the Monolith. I mean, this is only rerun last month, wasn't it? So there's nothing really new there. They just want you to get more tokens and start building, basically. The 85D is fantastic, isn't it? You know, and if they fix the goddamn gridiron, then I might actually consider using some of the 35 tokens I've still got and actually build one.
It's even more broken. I took one out today to try in the first 115, and the missile that I had on it to spot didn't show up in battle. I had no spotting weapon at all on the gridiron. I died, completely died. I was pissed.
Ooh, that's not good.
No, and the 5% difference. Here's the other part that's really annoying, is that 5% bonus from the Zealous actually makes a huge difference in the sprint. Yeah.
It does. Well, let's hope they come up with some sort of fix for this, and you aren't going to suffer for too much longer. I would hope it'd be out in the next 24 hours, but you know, it could be the next 2 weeks. I don't know. We'll see. But there is word that's and it's from one of the devs, so you know, it's not something we're making up here. So let's just hope that Rampage does come up with something pretty soon. And you know, although you know, once you've started. So once you may as well carry on, sort of stuff.
Coming soon.
Yep.
Yeah, coming soon to a game near you. Right. Okay, so that's Call to Arms, and then the Icebreaker one as well. So yeah, not too bad then. Siege Rocket 100S, don't even bother. Siege Rocket V, fantastic, because you can sort of like mitigate most of the cold snaps by blitzing past it. That's my preferred method. There's only one cluster I stop on, but apart from that, everything else I just blitz past. And there's plenty of tokens there. I know a lot of people are really stacked up and they're in sort of like 80s and 90s if you've already got the fleet sort of stuff, or a fleet that can do this this TLC. So you could almost build a second fleet if you wanted to, or just. So there was, again, look, there's more X armor in this as well. So if you can get through them as best you can, bear in mind they're old TLCs, then you should be doing okay, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point. If someone can't make prize pack 3 of the defensive arts, they may actually be able to make this one easier.
Yeah, you're right, actually. There's always options. One of them is a little bit easier than the other one, isn't it? I can't remember which one was which, but this is an older one, and the earlier targets, particularly in round 1, is all Punisher and sort of Citadel type stuff, isn't it? So.
Yeah, the first call times for both of them, I think you can actually do with a Punisher and Citadel like reasonably well too. It's not like you're not going to come out almost dead, I don't think.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be what it'll be. I mean, as long as they haven't, I haven't literally tried it yet because they've only just flashed up and that sort of stuff. So long as they haven't done any adjustments, most people generally were getting to a level where they went, yeah, that's as far as my fleet can go, sort of stuff, which is typical with TLCs. They're incremental and that sort of stuff in damage, and the better prizes are at the end. But if you are in a position where even if you've managed to get 4 of the standard ones last time, and you've got some of the charge on, it'd be worth to sort of like, I don't advise in the later ones to just go in with icebreakers and that stuff because they will just die. You do need to have a little bit of a play around,
Actually, with the changes that we did for the 115, I went through the whole bloody thing.
Did you?
I went through number 2 through what is this, 5 total, right? No, there's 4 total. So I went through 2 and 3 of this one, and then I think 3 and 4 of the mono one with 1 fleet. And I wasn't even half dead when I finished. I still got to do prize pack 4 of this.
Just remember that obviously the later ones, the first target changes. It changes from one of the old garrison type ones to obviously the newer type ones with the catch at the start, with the shielded rockets.
But the sprint makes it so much easier.
Well, I haven't tried it with the sprint, but then again, I can't say
you're gonna like it. So. You're gonna like it.
Okay, that'll be a job for the weekend. Okay, I've got enough to do as it is. I've been messing around with VFM, so right. Okay. Ooh, Rivals TLCs. Okay, so
actually,
go on.
Sorry, just something that I wanted to bring up because it applies to the prior ones, but not the new ones. They've put the 2-week shelf life on these, so we've got other TLCs. The other TLCs are only 5 days or just shy of 6 days. These ones have a 2-week shelf life. So if you don't desperately need things that are in it right now, don't kill all your fleets doing all of these and then, run out of time to do the other ones. So they're a little bit longer, 2 weeks. Take your time, pick at it, and run it through.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. Right, so Rivals TLCs. I wasn't particularly impressed with the wording. In fact, on the splash screen, I think this is a little bit different. The worded differently here, but basically, the Rivals series is coming back. Okay, the first 3 of the TLCs that started in February, I think the first one was, are back in. So Homeland's Hunger and Plunder. Okay, like I said, the only thing that's changed really is the number of ships. Obviously, it peaked at 5 and that sort of stuff. So yes, you can go through and do it 5 times again if you've already got 5 ships. And you can have 10 this time if you want to, if you're really that keen. Okay. And the other thing is as well, if you've already got the badge, obviously there's nothing extra. But also, as Ren has always said, okay, it's always better not to build 5 of the same in the same fleet, because obviously they will interact with each other. It's they all boost each other in different ways and that sort of stuff. So it's a bit of a sort of like mix match sort of hodgepodge really.
It's a good catch up for players, maybe newer players or mid levels, but it's kind of not something Endgame needs to look at really.
I like the fact the Liberators won there because the Liberators is basically the only thing that buses and a lot of the new Kings can't touch in your base. I'm not saying they're going to kill a Kings because they're certainly not, but they definitely are. They're quite resistant in your base and that sort of stuff, and I just put them there as annoying, basically. because they just sit there and just take a great deal of hammering, and they still survive to the end of the 5-minute battle. So there's nothing else that you can kill a kings with, so you may as well put something in to be annoying. So
yeah, every little bit of damage helps, but
it is a little bit of damage, I have to say.
Yeah,
but,
it is. It's just a little bit of damage.
I still have one in my base guard, but I've got a really old base guard.
I've got 3 back in mind. Don't worry about it. But hey, not to worry. Right. Anyway, so what do we got? So let's have a look at them then. So the Rivals TLC, Plunder, this one, Outpost 9 to participate. So some of the tokens have come out, and Andrew has made some adjustments there. So run 1, as you can see, the Ballistic Recall, which has been in for some time. That turret in run 2 is the main thing that if you get it tanked up right and put enough FM support about it, it's the one that annoys the kings out to death. Bear in mind, it's not a splash weapon, so it's a direct fire actual weapon. There are some survivor tokens in there. Then obviously run 3, you get the new hull and that sort of stuff, the blueprint, and obviously get some build tokens as well. And you can do that up to 5 times. There was a couple of extra prizes, but they're no longer in there, so just bear that in mind. I mean, I could do a comparison between the previous slides and these slides, but I didn't have time to do the switch, unfortunately. But anyway, so that's Rivals. The Plunder one, that's the first one that's out. Okay, so that holds particularly good survivor. It gives a little bit buff, and you can hide that in your fleet, tuck it on the outside, and don't sort of kill it off. And it boosts your other ships quite nicely. That one, the corrosive, or is it concussive? Can't remember which one it is. Gives a boost. Anybody remember off the top of their heads? Anybody in chat remember off the top of their heads?
Concussive?
I think it's concussive, isn't it? Which is good for obviously for the OP cannon, isn't it?
Millennium gun.
Yeah, the beast. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. Plunder. Next one. Hunger. Okay, so the one ship I didn't build, to be honest. But yeah, so yeah, it's got a great special there. So that special is a turret special, the first one. I don't particularly use it for that launcher, okay, which is in price pack 2, because I think that launcher is now, for a decent level player, is probably completely underpowered, considering there's a new one that came out. Obviously, the restricted launcher that's out now, which absolutely annihilates that one, but still doesn't annihilate any ships. It's just the way it is these days. Okay, and then price pack 3, as you can see, then there's the hull that's available. As again, it's a 6-day sort of build token per hull and that sort of stuff, and you can run that mastery round 5 times again. So actually, each one of these rivals, it seems like now there's a mirror image. You just get a different hull. So everything's and different specials, but the concept is the same all the way through. So that's Hunger anyway. So moving on then, Homelands. This is the one that I think you should do first, if any of them, to be honest. But SSKP, the enhancement for the turret, which is nice. The Highness can still do a lot of damage to some people's ships, okay? So especially you put the right stuff around them, and obviously they're retrofittable, which is nice as well. And obviously run 3, you get your Liberator hull, and obviously your 6-day build token as well. So yeah, worthwhile, to be honest. Any points on those guys?
Not really. I mean, even if you have Liberators or you're using Liberators in your guard, it's worth doing just to get the tokens, because then you can refit them to the modern, there's been newer missiles and newer specials out since the original campaign. So it's a good opportunity to refit to some more powerful missiles and update the specials, which is what I did last time this campaign was reran. I took all the tokens and refit the whole fleet. So,
how many?
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
That's what I was just going to say. And how many times have we seen an older ship take on a new weapon and completely change its use and validity?
I was thinking more the people that haven't really gotten into PvP yet. I mean, we got the Huggies in the game now. And this is, while this is not going to go in and walk into any of the bigger bases, I mean, it's, I can't remember how the TLCs were, but if they're easy enough, I mean, this might be a nice gateway for people to get into PvP that haven't done PvP before, or are kind of on the borderline about it.
Yeah, very much so. And Andrew's just said there in the chat, okay, he's in chat, and he's just said that he's updated the TFC website, obviously, and it's got Plunder, Hunger, and the Homeland's TLCs now are up on the current TLC's tab. So they're there. Have a look at them. There are quite a few videos. I had a quick scan earlier on, so there's plenty of options there for you. So just bear that in mind. Links in the chat if you haven't seen it before, but obviously if you have, then you can either Google just the Forsaken Council, or you can just go straight to www.forsakencouncil.co.uk. Up to you, take your pick. But there's videos from various people in there, so don't go in cold and don't go in blind, and have a little look. Good. Right. Oh, I think George, you could probably look at this one, can you? Is he there, George?
Every time the new FM comes out and I'm trying to do like one of the little targets and sneak it in during the show, that's when you bag me every time.
Have you finished? Are you still doing it?
Should be focused on the show, George. Should be focused.
I got the yeah. Now I'm getting up into the gate. I'll be done in a sec. But,
okay, right. Well, I'll go through this. I've done a couple of targets myself, so hang on a minute. Right. So the 115, the target is out. Okay, it's got the Garrison UAV hull in it. I think it's about 1, 2 inside the gate. Okay, and it's about 3. Hang on a minute. 1, 2,
5,
3, 4, 5 on the outside. Yeah. Okay. They are annoying. Okay, and the UAVs, don't worry about your countermeasures. They don't seem to stop them. They just seem to go right through. But the amount of damage they're doing is they're not going to kill your ships interestingly. So they make a lot of pretty whirls and swirls and that sort of stuff. Okay, but I would be more concerned with the standing still and sitting the cold snaps, which I tested that earlier on. Okay, so I would whiz past them. You can actually stun them with a pinch. Okay, because I did that a couple of times. So if you want to use their distance and stun one of them, if you want to break the target down, stun one of them, and then use the targeting on that with your ship, and then that will splash out a lot of the cold snaps as well. Then that's a little trick that works as well. And I'm not going to tell you which ones it is because I haven't tried it lately, but I do know that a couple of the ships actually can be subbed out.
My assumption was that the Drake UAV carriers are pretty much there just to drain down your charge armors.
They can be completely countered with Gales. Like Gales and a Mortarhead do really, really, really well at nailing them.
What about the new countermeasures? Is that?
No, it doesn't do anything.
No, because you only get one shot.
It does nothing.
The Gales will keep on firing, so when you use the Mortarheads, you have that extra range, and it gets you enough time to keep firing at them.
Yeah, my shipyard's finishing in about an hour with something, the new glut. So I'm actually going to do. I've got so many tokens. I'm actually going to switch out and do one of the new counters, and then a Gale free, and see how that works.
Oh, I wish I still had tokens. I'd be running that dual setup again. That was awesome.
Yeah, one of the other things too for people to think of is in watching people earlier just before the show, don't just charge right in and head for the nearest drac. You have to think this through. Okay, there's a chaining range on the UAVs, so you don't want your backline to be snuggled up right next to your ship if you don't have the counters to counter them. Otherwise, those UAVs are going to chain, pop on top of your tank, and then go visit your backline. So keep your backline back if you don't have the counters to mitigate them so that they're not taking damage. And you don't necessarily have to go straight in and target the ship. You can actually, if you think of the 115 with the southernmost drac carrier, drive up to the side, go around and target the cold snap and the buildings, turrets, those types of things that are next to the drac carrier, and allow your fleet to do some splash damage to that drac carrier. So when you do get in range, you're not, getting nailed by as many UAVs for as long.
Yeah, there are plenty of opportunities to splash out the drac carriers and a lot of the other stuff as well. I mean, especially if you've got the splash bonus one and your monos, which the distance between the flagship, whatever you're using, and your backline ships it needs to be huge. Okay, so go at full range. And the other point I noticed, I don't know if anybody's tested it lately, Robin, but we did notice that actually in one of the targets that we were looking at, that if you target the drac carrier, your retargeting ships that you get dragged behind don't seem to retarget. I don't know if that's an error or whether it's actually working now, because I haven't actually tried any carriers. Any monos at the moment, but I have had an issue where I
That
sent
was
my
interesting.
flag in, and then basically the monos wouldn't retarget. I'd have to get right in close, which clearly I don't want to do because the UAVs would then spawn straight across and hit my backline fleet. So, but then I changed and then started hitting the cold snaps, and it wasn't an issue because I was just splashing out all the drat carriers anyway. So, yeah, watch the arcs; they're a little bit naughty. See what happens. But yeah, the arc missiles, just watch those things because they seem to be a little bit more rapid. I don't know if it's me, but maybe it's just because
No,
there's more things
I think
going
you're
on.
right. No, I think the speed. I think there's a little bit more of them. I don't know if it's they're firing more often or if there's just more of them because of those extra turrets, but they seem to be in the air far more often than before.
Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. Anyway, so there's the points. Okay, remember from the previous one before the raid started and that sort of stuff. That's the old points. There's the new points, that sort of stuff. So yeah, they have sort of gone up a little bit. But it's all retrospective and that sort of stuff because if the points of the targets have gone up, for the prizes have gone up, then it actually null and voids the whole darn thing. So let's talk about that on Saturday when we have a little bit of a run through and people are sort of getting to sort of the end state of the FM, and then they will have some genuine stats from people saying, well, it took me this many fleets to get through to the final piece and that sort of stuff. I want to see, obviously, from my own alliance, so a lot of people have just got obviously absolutely, they've got zealous, obviously cannon firers, and they've got sort of generalist fleets in general dragging around the old board chuckers as well. Some people are using monos and that sort of stuff.
The ballistic zealous should. Oh,
yeah,
that's a very sore spot with me. The general
it is a sore spot, mate. Because I just seen somebody do a 1-1-1, which is the transition one into the new FM, and damage the tool on his zealous ballistic fleet.
I mean, if you're talking about a full fleet, a generalist fleet should not be outperforming the specialist fleet. I mean, what the hell? What was the point of the investment then, right? But that's a whole nother story. We can talk about that on Saturday in the open mic or something. I just finished the 115, and I think I have to tweak my monoliths because I took a total of 36 minutes of damage, but my zealous only took 6 minutes 20 seconds of damage. The rest of it was, and I was driving stacked, so I'm sure that's part of why I took that much damage. But I'm lazy. But 6 minutes, it's a lot of gales, and I was running the Motorhead crew. So that's definitely something for people to look at when they're going into these 115s. The other thing is if you have a gridiron, be careful because I went in with the gridiron earlier, and my missile on the boat didn't show up in combat. Like I went to hit the first icebreaker, and like everything fired. I was like, what the hell? All hell broke loose. So be careful. There are some weird things going on still.
Yeah, a couple of other things. Just a reminder that the 111 target, the 111, is not here to stay. It is a transition target, so it's only going to be here for a couple of weeks. So don't get all comfy with that target and hope that that's going to stay. We're going to lose that soon, and so you are going to need to look at the 115. And then there are opportunities, because we don't have ships that chase us now, there are opportunities for people to actually pick the target in pieces. So if you're a lower level, you don't necessarily have to do the whole target in one hit. You can come in, take out some buildings, take out some turrets without getting in range of the UAV, and then do it in sections that way.
Yeah, so that goes back to Rue's point earlier on, okay, and that basically, as she said, obviously for the FM, is exactly the same if you've got icebreakers or anything. If your backline and the monos get hit and you start noticing your charge armor starts dropping off, or particularly your tank as well at the front end, whether you're using a zealous or whatever you're using, you've got plenty of time to exit the target. It's going to do you no harm whatsoever. So I strongly advise that before the thing starts dying off, because you saw the recharge point, you can never get it back to full charge. So do the best you can to get that charge back up and utilize it to its best of its ability, sort of stuff. The second you've lost it, particularly on icebreakers, oh boy, does it hit you hard, and the damage then instantly comes in. So in chat, look, people are playing. Hang on 2 seconds. So in chat, I mean, there's a guy in chat there saying, "Have we signed NDAs against?" No single person in this panel has signed an NDA for Kickstarter at all. We don't. However, what we're allowed to go in and have a look at, we will not discuss, because that's the common courtesy we will provide. Okay, right. That's it. Okay. But what I will say about the target that I saw on Monday is there were so many iterations of the targets and the ships that were in there. It was being refreshed every half an hour, and they never gave us the final decision on which version they go with. That's it.
Right, and the reason why they were doing that as well is because we were finding stuff and they were trying to adjust it, because what they were trying, and I don't know how much, like, I'm gonna say this, and I don't think I'm, I don't think they're gonna get mad, but they were actually trying very hard to make sure that this new target was not going to cause refits. Like, they were trying to minimize any refits that people had to do when they changed the target. They were very conscious of the community being really upset about that whole point, and we're trying to actually tailor the target so we would not have to do it. So whatever we had already refit should have worked this week. That was their goal. So they're not evil. They're not evil.
My personal feel and take on the FM changes is that, if we're going to be required to do double the targets or even more so, then we shouldn't be taking more damage. We should be taking less damage. So we shouldn't be taking more damage and then having to hit a lot more targets as well. I mean, we're basically being double punished there.
Absolutely. Like I said this yesterday, I think, too, or last week or something. I would not have a problem at all taking 2-3 hours of damage if I had to do 3 of these things. I could live with that, because you know what, you do it, you're done, whatever. But 14 of them at whatever damage at a whack, and with that many chances for you to lag out or make a mistake or something, not so good.
Yeah, I mean, now I've got to do twice as many targets. I've got to take more damage. If I want to try and counter this, I'm going to have to figure out a refit. And Kickside told me that these FM targets would be here for a year. I mean, we had the last FM targets for a year. We get told that there's going to be 4 cycles a year, because then they can rotate each target a year. And here we are 6 months in, and they changed it. And I just think that regardless of how well they polished a turd is still a fucking turd. Do you know what I mean? So, they can put a pretty picture on it and they can say whatever they want and they can adjust it. But the fact is, they've still done one over on us, the players. Yeah,
I mean, I'll say, I can understand if you want to change a process. I can understand if you want to change a target. The fact that you've combined the two at the exact same time is exactly. It's just, I just think it's nuts. But that's just me. Okay, I will overcome. This is not going to stop me from doing the things I enjoy the most. We have 6 days to do it, thank God, and not 3. And I'll get through it, and that sort of stuff. And as Rue said, pick what piece of the game, the PvP chore, if you want to call it, that you want to attack first, and that sort of stuff. And for me, I'm attacking the FM because I want to use the chests and the tokens that are in there to my advantage, because obviously VXP weekend's coming up and that sort of stuff. So that's the way I'm going about it. That's my decision. I have enough charged armor. I've got plenty of build tokens, and I probably won't even do those TLCs, to be honest, because I don't think I need to be honest. But that's just me personally. Is it the right thing to do? I don't know. But,
well, obviously changes to a game. When they make changes to a game, theoretically, from a business standpoint, they're making changes to increase profit, but also, not only have they got to increase profit, they've also got to try and increase the fun factor, because otherwise the profits won't increase. So, and I think on this part they failed, because they're meant to make a change that they feel is going to improve the overall quality of the game and improve the player experience. And I don't see how the FM change
didn't do it. Nope,
didn't do
it. Not even a little.
Is anyone happy at the change? Is anyone happy at the new system? Is anyone enjoying the new targets? Because I don't see that.
No.
Well, it's a double negative, but Robin, go on.
Yeah, just a couple of things to that. I think once they get the targets nailed down and people get the fleets nailed down, then people will be a lot happier with the format when, a lower or mid-level, because they will be able to clear out a lot of things. You can take a week off, yada, yada, yada. But what I am happy about with this change, and it addressed the very thing that irritated a lot of us, and I think my term was garrison target with a supersized of assault fleet. We don't have that anymore. We're not having to take higgledy-piggledy 3 different fleets in an assault fleet plus this fleet plus that fleet. It's going to take time to nail this down, but at least now that I know I can go ahead and take in one fleet and do that with that one fleet, as opposed to having to put a gut spill or something else in there.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I understand, because they did this the last FM cycle, where midway through they kind of tweaked it a little bit, right? But it was a tweak that we adjusted to back to what our expectation within hours. This one is massive, and the fundamental problem I have with this is that I have invested to get these things for the raid, and I expect them to be good for a year. I don't expect to have to refit them in the middle of while I'm building, other raid fleets and all this other stuff. This is, even with the changes, it's still too extreme of a change to what I have to do to the fleet. On top of the now grind every week. I mean, that's just way too many targets. Like, the whole thing is not put together well from a player perspective. From their perspective, maybe. I mean, I don't know what the hell their goal was, but from a player's perspective, this was not implemented well in either iteration, and I mean in any way, shape, or form, actually.
No, I mean, they had a huge opportunity, and I've said this in the past for all the joking about positivity and everything else. They had a huge opportunity to leave the targets as they were, release this to where people could get to the tokens and to the tokens quickly, and it would have been a huge bunch of positive stuff for the game. But they do the positive thing and then they almost kill it out with the negative.
I mean, they could fix this really, really easy. All they got to do is rebalance the points and make it so we need 5 to 7 of these, maybe less, because it's a pain. If the damage is going to be this high, like, I want to do like 3 to 5 of these things tops and be done with my FM. Mm-hmm. The fact that we don't have a cap on each of the tiers really worries me.
Right,
points,
so are we? Let me just double check. So, are we going to get new prizes in the FM every week? Is that what we're going to do? So
I don't know.
This one here, because that's my concern. I mean, because the prizes took us the month to get last time. Okay, so let's just have a comparison quickly. So, if there was 3 tier 5 ones and 1 tier 4, then you would do the first week you would get the tier 4, then get some tokens. The first week you would get nothing from tier 5. Next week you get the tier 4 tokens for the 2 runs, and you get. If there's only 1 in the tier 5, you get 1 set of tokens, okay? But the fact that you can spend 6 days and get everything now, does that mean you get straight to tokens next week and the week after and the week after? If you just wanted to go through and get it's 300k, look, you can see it there for the first one. So if you want to go and hit 6 targets and that sort of stuff, that's 3, 5, 15, so that gets you 1 prize. Okay, that's the tier 5 prize. So the annoying thing is, yes, you'd have to go and do another 5 to go and get the second one of the tier 5 prizes. So it is 12 targets basically, and it's not 14, but it's now 12. But technically, you could actually stop there, and that's your done for this week, because was the old system. Or am I wrong? But that is the old system basically. So the fact that you can continue through and collect more prizes, you can sort of get it out of the way, so long as they don't bring in additional prizes for the rest of the month.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. The old system was fantastic. It was clear. Everyone understood it, and we all enjoyed it. And now everyone's up in arms about it. So,
Well, it's the twin change I don't like. It's I understand a little bit of adjustment of targets, a little bit, that is, and the target looks very, very similar now. It's just got a different fleet. It's got some different ships.
It's the double punishment that I said initially. I mean, we've been punished twice. They changed the system, made it so we have to hit more targets, and on top of that, made the targets give us more damage. We've basically been done over twice in the same update, and that's the problem as far as I see it. The community could probably have accepted one of them. They wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been an easy transition, but it probably would have happened a lot more smoothly. To be quite honest, they should have rolled out the new system with the current targets, and then when they did that, say we are going to be looking at possibly adjusting the targets in the next month, but we're going to give you 4 weeks to get used to this. Then we probably would have accepted that just fine. But the fact is, they stung us twice in the same hit.
Well, I mean, and the thing is they know that people are trying to refit, right? Especially the zealous flags, right? And we got 1 token in the FM, and the answer was, hey, let's run some TLC so you guys can get the tokens. Why not do a special? I mean, it's the FM. You can put a special chest in there for a week. Hey, 5 zealous, 1-day tokens and this and that, and make them cheap so that way people can adjust.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just close with saying that the garrison is now a garrison at least. It has got some garrison UAVs in there. As you've said, I think you might want to do a slight adjustment and maybe take off the new countermeasure if you put 2 on your icebreakers like I did for last time, because obviously it was the wrong fleet that was in this target. And then maybe put on a Gale and that sort of stuff, which I'll try to get a Gale 2 or Gale 3 on mine. And then I'll readjust and have a little look. But mine are fixing overnight, so I'll do it tomorrow. The other thing is, the thing that has frustrated me is every time that we've had a transition, we've had a transition. This was a dead stop. A dead stop, target change, no transition. Okay, we inched in the last targets. They were faded in for a few weeks and that sort of stuff, and we had transition. There was no transition. So just bear that in mind. And why do people bring out the pitchforks? They don't like sudden change. No one likes sudden change. No one likes being made to look a dick. It's as simple as that. New slide, I think.
Yep, new slide. Okay,
so here we go. Here are the targets. The target prizes for the FM. So price pool 5. Then let's talk about them, and then we'll talk about escalation maybe. So there is the Nightmare Torpedo, 1.2 million points. Okay, then projectile speeds. You've got some statistics on there, George, but we can come back to that in a second. I think weight, it's quite heavy. Damage and reload there. Bear in mind 4,200. Okay, reload time 8. Forget the wall and building. That's a pointless stat. Okay. But yeah, well, I suppose if you're using ghost crawlers, you want to go and kill someone's dock, it's fantastic. But I like he hit some walls with it. Yeah, so there we go. So there's a new Scourge torpedo. You're thinking escalation in the raid. You're probably right. Compare that to obviously the one that's already out there for the new sub. What have we got next then? Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, not if you could go back to the top, and not just escalation. There were people that could not get up that high. They were able to get the fangs in the raid, but they were not able to get the points for the torpedo or the torpedo tube. So if you do have a reasonable FM fleet, then you can tag this and instead of putting Sharons on it, that kind of stuff.
Do you know what I really like? If this, I can't see the full stats there. Imagine if I had 5 on the speed up as well. You'd be sticking out all over your ghost crawler, wouldn't you?
Yep.
That'd be interesting.
I don't think it has, but because I haven't seen the full stats.
I'm at 238,000 with the other torpedo on it. I can't wait to throw this one and see what that one
this one's going to be even better. So yeah. So this, I mean, if you can actually get to hit anything these days with a ghost crawler, it'd be good. But anyway, here's another beast. So this Wolf's Tooth depth charger. Yet again, 1.2. Is that actually what it is actually in the FM? So someone is anybody in the game and just actually confirm? I'm sure I saw it said 1.5. I might be wrong.
No, that's right.
Is that definitely in game right? Is it?
Yeah.
Okie. So 1.2 there. All right then. Weight 495. Okay, and damage 13.65k. So and the same submerged damage as well. Okay. Clearly, obviously, it's for your hounds too, and that sort of stuff. No, it's a little bit heavier. So you're not going to be able to get some more. And reload's a little bit slower, but it packs a much bigger punch. So mix and match maybe. Yeah, have a look at it. The annoying thing is obviously some of the subs, they do take 3 or 4 volleys sometimes. So if you can get them down and get them gone, particularly obviously the ones that have got the Thorns effect, it would probably be a good idea to thump them pretty hard, pretty quick.
As fast as possible, yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, when I did, because I wasn't really that interested in the torpedo that much because I didn't use my fangs at all. I did do a quick, just basic raw DPS difference, and it was only like 87 damage per torpedo. I was more interested in the Wolf's Tooth, and thankfully Daniel Baker from the page ran a whole bunch of numbers. I think he's posting it up on the page now, but he ran through using different variables like the because I used strike warhead, right, rather than the ACP.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people questioned that, and it worked out really well in the raid. But he came up, like, he ran the numbers, and it came up very interesting when you take into consideration the critical damage, the critical hits from the PBX. The difference is not that big between the two weapons, which is actually kind of cool because it's, again, kind of designed like it's not an like absolutely needed upgrade. So it came out pretty close between the two. And what was even more strange, because I was thinking, I think you saw my comment earlier when I first saw the reload. I was like, son of a bitch. Like I knew I was like that strike warhead choice might have come back to bite me in the ass if they did the reload real high. Well, when he did the calculations out for the new one as well, strike warhead still works out better than the ACP special for reload.
Okay, interesting.
So if you did use strike warheads, you're going to be up if you're gonna upgrade to these. I don't know about the weight. Like it's not in Huggies, and I haven't had a chance to throw it in the shipyard yet. But this will be interesting. But it's not something that I think you absolutely positively have to do.
No, I think I never did any of the escalations for the last one for the Textor raid and that sort of stuff. I just grizzed it out personally. But if you've got the time and that sort of stuff, and I suppose you could. This one is a bit chubby. It is definitely heavier than the last one, so you're not going to get so many on without a doubt.
And the difference in DPS is 302 to 325. And if anyone, it's a 7.5% increase. And the thing is, though, is in that time, the Houndstooth fires twice, the Wolf's Tooth only once. So if you can't one-shot it with the Wolf's Tooth,
why are you bothering?
You might just use the Houndstooth instead and save yourself some. I mean, the catch is going to be: is it worth the refit?
Yeah, and if you haven't put on things like charge, then I'd rather put the charge on than changing a weapon.
Do we know the time per weapon to refit?
No, nothing at all.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I do want to give a shout out to Daniel and say thank you, because he did a whole lot of math really quick before the show, because I was tied up with something else. So thank you very much, dude. That was awesome.
I'll put those stats in, by the way, Daniel, for the slide pack before I upload the PDF version onto the page, so people can see those. I'll add a couple of extra slides in. So thanks for that, buddy. Interesting. Okay, so there's a new panel, obviously for your turrets. They're just churning these out, I think, to be honest, just different combinations. So here's another one. Okay, it is concussive this time and pen. Okay. I'm sure we'll get a pen hull some stage, won't we? But it's there if you want it.
Is this in tier 4?
5.
I think it's 5, isn't it?
Is it 5? Because they have which is the one that was put into tier 4?
I think it's the next thing, to be honest. I think it's this thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's
we can go back and look at that. There you go. There's a panel for your turrets. How exciting! Let's move on. Okay. Quite like this though. If you've got generalists.
Yeah, I guess. I just.
Yeah, I mean the other panels is for as actually Heffel said in the thing, twin blades and that sort of stuff. Okay. And it's great because people can have 5 of those if they want to and start blitzing with twin blades, but not if someone's got obviously epic cat morts with 5 fire support around, or 7 or 9 even. I've seen some of them. Twin blades don't do so well, and especially if they've got the OP gun on top as well. So, but it's all levels of bases, so don't I'm not poo-pooing it for everybody. So yes, that would help against the 1.75 million damage DPS you can get on each hull or something stupid on the twin. So it's nuts with the new missile. But anyway, this thing. So this looks fantastic, but please note it's for generalist class only. Okay, so it's a Zealous beastie, isn't it? I don't know who's going down that avenue, because obviously that flagship came out to go with them to make them interesting and that sort of stuff. So it's a heavy beast. It goes in the special stuff. Yeah, look at that weight, 2,400 tons. Ye gods. Projectile speed 750. Damage 74.
Yeah, but look at the damage.
It's a heavy weapon. This is for the Imperium.
Yeah. Look at this. What's the range?
No, it's a heavy weapon. It's for the Imperium.
Range 95 though. What are you gonna do with your Imperiums? Range 95. I hope it's a range extender, because otherwise you're still gonna get melted.
Yep.
Let's see who gets the rounds off first.
That's well, yeah. I mean, that's the only thing that'll fit. That's the only generalist that we have that has a heavy.
There's no heavy slot for a Zealous, so.
Unless there's a new generalist coming out.
Oh God, I hope not.
I thought the idea was like 1 or 2 holes, and then you just put different weapons on. But I don't know.
Yeah, they just gotta let those die. Fuck that. Pardon my French. That's just I'm very annoyed with the whole generalist crap. the balancing of that thing sucked.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay, I find it random. I find it a very nice weapon, and I really would like to put that on my my other ships. But Imperium, what are you gonna do with it?
That would be a nice thing. Yeah, I mean that would be a nice thing to add to. I don't know, like a retribution that you have sitting in your base card now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, build me up, get me excited, and then knock me down.
I wish we could see the full stat on it. I haven't checked it yet because it's got bonus for combat speed, ship deflection, explosive deflection, concussive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's all I've got so far. Yeah, they're cutting them short, so I don't know why they're not releasing the full stats in the FM. Sorry, in the forum updates. You have to sort of get a little snippet, and then you have to go and look yourself in the game. So, but hey, you know, when the game's down for 6 hours, what else can you do? You've got to go by the forums. Not a dig, reality. Okay. VXP weekend. So here we go. Look. Oh, look, we've got it in American timing. You guys must be really happy. Look at that. I didn't change it. Okay, so that's the 17th. Okay, then of November through to the 20th of November. You weird bunch. Okay, then 9 a.m. kickside time to 9 a.m. kickside time on the Monday. Why do you have to muck with the time?
So we're back to VXP day. It's not VXP weekend. We're back to VXP day. Yay!
Yeah, we are. Yes, we are. So there's a monster target out there. Okay, basically that you can't retreat from. Just bear that in mind. Okay, then there's a monster target out there you will be able to retreat from. So if you're not sure which one it is, get out a gunboat, shove it in there, and see what happens. Okay, because yeah, you won't want to play a bit. So yeah, typical normal level 100s up there. Then from Friday till Sat. Okay, so it's the Friday AM till the Saturday PM. Okay, so you get the 36 hours. All right. The normal sort of thing with salvage elites and that sort of stuff. So yeah, just bear that in mind. So yeah, basically you're going in there to die or kill it, one or the other. So just bear that in mind. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people complaining about that who have not read the notes. They'll go into it and go, hang on a minute, I can't get out now. I'm stuck in here. So
stuck into.
I've never been a fan of the whole not being able to retreat from a target. Just like the what is it on the map now that you can't
Nav relays.
Yeah,
nav relays. Yeah, I fell of that one myself. I took it complete and just had to go and sit in the corner until it timed out. That was really.
Yeah, I'm really not a fan of that. Like there are certain things that I don't know if they're doing it just to annoy the community or if they just have no clue that it pisses us off. But that kind of crap pisses us off.
Maybe there's something new in the target we haven't seen that would be easy to exploit, and maybe that's what they put in.
Well, maybe,
then they should design better.
Gunboat it. Gunboat it first.
Yeah, gunboat it, and then a couple of other options if you're, if you're not able to handle and because we all don't completely finish our fleets before VXP weekend, you can go in with fangs and pull the subs, and then leave the gluts for like the hunters and that kind of stuff. But just pay attention to crew management. If you're going to go that route, do it. Then load your triple salty, and then go in and and hit the targets. Don't sit there with a triple salty just ticking away on the map.
Where's my tin and foil hat picture? Is that the reason? Do you reckon? Because everyone was going there, hitting one glut, exiting, hitting another glut, exiting, hitting another glut, exiting, and then obviously maxing out on VXP. I'd hate to think that's the reason they've done this.
That's a horrible.
No idea.
That's the reason why. That actually makes sense, but that is absolutely dirty as hell.
Because as you know, there's a maximum amount of points you can get. So that means then you've got to go and sit in that target, time out, and then you're going to waste your crew. Because it's going to be like at least 15 minutes, isn't it?
In addition to that, they changed it to where, because if you remember, you could suicide, which would be great if you couldn't.
No extra points for that anymore.
But now you don't get anything if you suicide because it's based on damage dealt. So it's like the double whammy. Okay, so now I got to go build and do more damage. Well, now you can't retreat. So.
If they put the VXP payout to how the original Reaver ones were, do you remember those? I could live with only hitting it once because you'd get 4 or 5 times what we got before.
I don't know. Can't remember, to be honest. Anyway, look, there we go. It is what it is. Just bear that in mind, okay? And for those that are watching the show and you're all in different alliances, for God's sake, tell your alliance players. Okay, we'll make sure it's up on the page. I might just chop this slide and then pin it maybe before the weekend kicks in and that sort of stuff. Otherwise, people are going to go mental. Okay, right. one more slide, I think it is. Oh yeah, bug fixing and tuning. Oh no, it's not up there. So we'll hang on. Let's just let's go back to normal. Talk amongst yourselves.
Break out the crayons. We can do something here.
Yeah.
So, how are you?
Oh Lord, I think I'm going. See you, bye now.
How are you? No, well, I don't know. I mean, the VXP weekend. Let's see what happens. I've got a fleet of dry hold hunters that I'm just going to fire in there and just let them die over and over and over. So I got some rank.
You know, Ren just
Oh,
posted.
I'm charging royalties on that angry face.
You doing what?
Wait a minute,
nice.
guys. Is everyone in chat all right to load pokies a minute while we sort out the slide?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I just
Pokey's my favorite game. It always works.
I just want to. I want to
Pokies was
point
probably
out.
Kitbo's biggest success because it never had any bugs or glitches.
Yeah, I want to point out something that Ren just pointed out to me, that you know, one of the escalation things with the houndstooth that we might want to take into consideration is that if they do the dirty like they did in last raid and they put in charged armor pools on the new S target, you might need the escalation weapon to break the charge, the deflection, to overcome the deflections.
You might do. I don't know.
Just a side note. It was a good point, Ren.
And Ren's back, by the way. He's back on the page.
He's kicking around somewhere, yeah.
He's kicking about. He's kicking about. He's just a busy man at the moment. So
couldn't resist a goo. You know, he tried.
Yeah, not so much of the admin stuff, but more the personal stuff. So he's still about and that sort of stuff. So yeah, good to see you back. Yeah, so yeah, look, that's the only bug fix and tuning. Okay, so we all know then that the weekly update came on, the update happened, that sort of stuff. People got to sort of engage 1/3 piece maybe of a 115 because Ren did a video, and then all of a sudden boom, down it went again, and then it went off, and it went off, and it went off, and it went off, and it was a 1 hour and 2 hour, and then 3 hours, and then I think it went to 5 in the total before it came back on. Apart from the 115, which I didn't see any difference to Ren's video and the one that I did, I'm not sure what the issue was. We haven't seen the update for the mono, so that wasn't the concern, which I thought it might have been. Maybe something to do with the TLCs. Maybe they had to take out all those nice build tokens for your turrets. I don't know what it was, but you know, that's a tinfoil hat thing. But something there was a comment about the Conqueror hull, the Huggies not working right, and they had to shut off instant build on it. So it might have been something in the shipyards. I don't know. It would be just nice to say, look, guys, we've had this problem. We're going to fix it. Rather than just going, it's down because we've got a problem. Just saying it's down this area, we've got a problem with the Conqueror whole shipyard. Okay, at least they give guys a rough idea of what the hell was going on. Because no one likes to be a mushroom. Being in the dark is no fun.
Yep.
Okay.
No one likes to be a mushroom. And that is the TFC catch line of the week. We're going to highlight that. No one likes to be a mushroom. Spread that. That is such. That is a new catchphrase.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, then. Unless it's a magic mushroom, but that's a whole different story.
Oh boy, here we go.
That's for a Saturday show. That's open mic.
Right, that's it. Slides were done.
Okay, well then, is there anything else that anyone wants to go into before I close the show?
Nada.
Well, it's been an interesting week. Obviously, we've got a lot of content. You know, post-raid, we've got the VXP to TLC, so there is a lot going on, but I'm sure we will plow through it, and obviously we will follow up with a Saturday show, maybe discussing how we're finding the FMs and TLCs, and of course the VXP weekend. So look forward to seeing you then, but thanks everyone.
Liam, hang on. Whoa, wait a second. Wait a second before you go. I'm just going to highlight your page. Come on then, hold it up. You've been playing with it all the way through the show.
No.
You have?
No. What?
Liam's bought a new toy. He spent £1,000 not on BP. Where is it? Is there somewhere?
I got a new phone, yeah, but it's, you know, it's a new toy.
You've got a new iPhone X, haven't you?
I was using it for the TFC chat, actually. It's very productive.
No, you.
So when you drop it and break the back glass, you're going to post it up, right?
Well, me and TSM have got a challenge. If I don't break it in 2 weeks, then he's going to buy one. And I know I can break this shit in 2 days, but I'm not going to tell him.
The back is glass. You can have it broke by the end of the week.
Yes, I know. Well, I caved into the hype. That's all I can say.
Like you always do. Moving on.
Since I'm saving so much money on BP at the moment, I've got to spend it somewhere. But no, it's been a great show, guys, and thank you to the presenters that made it, and thanks to everyone that came and watched it. It feels good to be back in the presenter seat, and we will see you on Saturday. Unfortunately, you won't see me on Saturday because I am working, but we will have a show. So we'll see you all then. Take care and good night.
Good night, all.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah.